Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to Indaba Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from Central Pennsylvania on this Thursday, July 16, 2020, with my special guest. Oh, sorry, acting up again here. Sorry about that, folks. I'm trying to check the stream, and it's acting up on me again. Here we go. It's not giving me my live feed. Anyway, welcome to Chris Wyatt Africa on the Indaba Africa channel. I'm happy to have folks in. Today, my special guest is Joe Emilio. We're going to be talking about a little bit about cancel culture, what's going on in his life and his trials and tribulations, literally trials, perhaps. We'll see if he's actually at a trial stage, and we'll get going in that in just a moment here. So before I do that, wait a second. There's breaking news just coming into my headset. Let me hang on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, major news sources have released that, it's apparently it's true. White people are responsible for global warming. It seems that there are too many white people and they're exhaling carbon monoxide. As a consequence, they're polluting the environment. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, it has now been scientifically proven by academics at Harvard, Yale, The Guardian, MSNBC, CBS, and ABC. I'm sorry, I hate to break this to you, ladies and gentlemen, but apparently it is true. So with that news, I'm going to bring in Joe Emilio here in just a moment. Now, Joe and I are very much alike. Joe is a Texan. Well, wait, I'm not a Texan. He's a Mexican. No, I'm not a Mexican. Well, he's actually Egyptian. But no, I'm not Egyptian either. We saw that. Well, wait a second. We do have something in common. Joe, like me, is a person of color. What do you mean? White's a color. I'm a person of color. All right, Joe, come on in there. I know you're laughing. I can't hear it. Put your mute off.
White is not a color, my friend. It's a shade.
Okay, well, I'm off-white. I'm putty.
You could be pink if you were.
Could be pink. I'm saying the volume's too low. Let me crank up the volume a little bit for everybody. There we go. Day to day, you can never get the volume right in this thing. All right, I should be able to hear everybody fine there. Okay, Joe, welcome into Chris Wyatt Africa. Good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, buddy. How are you?
Well, I'm older. That's always a good sign.
Yeah, it's been an interesting week, to say the least. Hello, everyone that is watching. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you for having me, Chris. I've been looking forward to this conversation the whole week.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for a while. You were my savior one day early on when I was putting guests on the channel, and suddenly my guest backed out from me and has never backed in, so I haven't got that guest back. And you kindly offered to call in and didn't even have your photo on the actually, it sounds pretty good. I'm listening to the stream right now. It sounds pretty good. So just checking the mic levels. Anyway, so you kindly fielded on that Saturday, and ever since then, we just kind of hung out and chatted quite a bit. And we've talked about having you back on the show. And this is, I think, the first special feature to actually get you back here because things have been a little busy in Joe's world. Can you tell us about that? What's going on with you?
Yes. Okay, so in a nutshell, if I can put it in a nutshell.
I'm allergic to nuts, but go ahead.
I was canceled by someone. I'm a comedian. For those who don't know, I'm a comedian in Cape Town, and during the lockdown, for those of you that are in South Africa will know how difficult it is for any entertainer at this time to find work. And I was blessed and lucky to have worked with a company that had given me an opportunity, and also were paying me, and it was a good amount of money. It paid some of the bills. It helped with some of the groceries. And someone one day decided that they didn't like my political views. Not my comedy. Nothing to do with my comedy. My political views. Specifically because I retweeted some journalist. I think this is the tweet that she didn't like. Some journalist said that the media is painting Trump in the wrong light and was exposing that. And I retweeted that, and I said, finally, someone's telling the truth. And then that got me a bit of flack from many different people, but yeah, I think that's probably what set that person off. And then they saw me at this gig, and then they took it upon themselves to basically try and get me let go from that job. She succeeded, and then I made a video telling this story. I'll leave a link later on to the video with more detail, and then. Now we're up to the aftermath. So what happened after the video?
Well, before the video, let me just interrupt real quick, Joe. I mean, I know a number of the people in the stream probably know the story, but not everybody does. So let me get this straight. So you were tweeting, and this person responded to your tweet. No, that wasn't it. No, you were actually broadcasting on your channel, and this person jumped on your channel and said nice. How did this happen?
So this gig that I was doing was an online stream. It wasn't on my YouTube channel. It was on a different channel completely.
So it was on it was the one that the business sponsored. That's the stream you're on.
Yes.
Not even your personal channel, not your personal social media. It was on a business paid for site.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes. And this person basically came at me. She had left a comment in the live chat saying, "Oh wow, a full Trump supporter or Trump voter hosting the show. I expected better." So I saw that comment, but I ignored it. I obviously didn't pay
But
any attention.
in that stream, you weren't talking about Trump, were you?
It was it's a stream that was meant for comedians where we just get together and talk about anything and everything. I didn't bring up politics; they did, but it was usually South African politics.
Sure.
Obviously, they're making fun of ANC, or they're making fun of the cigarette ban, or they're making fun of alcohol ban, or whatever. And I would ask them questions, based on the lockdown and if they have any COVID jokes, and we just poke fun and have fun and give the people something to laugh about. So she makes that comment. I ignore it. Mm-hmm. The next day, I get a message from my client saying that, "Do you know a Nikki Arison?" I said no, but then it clicked in my mind, oh, wait, that could have been the person that commented. When I did a bit of research, I found out, yes, there was the same person, and she had tweeted that I am a racist. Well, she tweeted that this is what happens when events companies, businesses support a racist, homophobic Trump supporter, this Egyptian piece of shit, or something along those lines. And
very colorful.
I found out, yeah, I found out about the tweet, and I basically pursued legal action against her because those comments and her actually emailing my client to try and get me fired, which she did, worked, and therefore it was defamatory because there's no evidence to support her claims. And it was basically the cancel culture that we all despise. And I said, I did nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. I didn't deserve this. Just because I'm a Trump supporter does not make me those horrible things that she's accused me of. You and I have had this discussion before, even on my channel, where we don't like Trump. We've said this openly. We don't like him. But he's better than Biden. So, I mean, in a nutshell, we can say that, and so anyway, I sent a lawyer's letter. My lawyer sent a lawyer's letter. She never responded. So this is the aftermath now. I then decided to reach out to her in my personal capacity. Mm-hmm. And I sent her an email, which, by the way, I have to say this. Someone commented on the video that I made about this whole thing. Mm-hmm. Okay. And said, "Oh, what you're doing is so wrong because she's gotten a lot of flack from this, and it's so unfair that you made a video and she can't contact you to say sorry. So you've blocked her." He accused me of blocking her. So here's the funny part. I only blocked her on Twitter. I didn't block her on anything else. She blocked me. When I tried to look for her email, I couldn't because she had blocked me on every single platform. The only way was YouTube. She has a YouTube channel, so I went on there and I found her email on there and I emailed her. So I sent her an email. I said, "Okay, this is what I want. I'm willing to drop the lawsuit if you will just apologize on so-and-so platforms to my client." And there's a paragraph that I wanted her to say. I don't care what she says in the entirety of the apology, but there's one paragraph that must be there. I don't want her to just apologize. I don't want her to just say, "I'm sorry," and then the paragraph. No, but the paragraph must be somewhere in her apology. And she basically, she emailed me back the first time. Mm-hmm. And I was shocked when she said that she said she wants me to apologize. So she wants me to apologize because of me going onto Germ's channel, Man Patria, making a video about the story, She wanted me to apologize for my video because apparently that's perpetuating cancel culture, which it's not. I do not say at any
No,
point in
not
that
at all.
video
I've
to
watched it. I
attack
thought
her.
thought the video was just simply putting the story out there, saying, "Hey, look, I've been attacked. You attacked me unfairly. That's not right. You shouldn't do it." That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Yep, exactly. And so she's saying these things. I send an email back to her, and I say like, look, I ignore that whole apology part, and I say again, these are the terms that I'm willing to settle this. Blah blah blah. You must say the paragraph like this, and she then emails me again,
Mm-hmm.
replies to that email, and says she's reworded the paragraph to something that is like very generic. And then she reiterates again, I want you to apologize for the video that you made and admit that it is the video was the same behavior that I'm vilifying, and that I must reach out to Germ and Manpatria and tell them to take down the videos in which she is mentioned. I must also take down the article that I wrote. I must also so I was just like, I told her like the previous email is the terms that I'm willing to settle this on. She never replied to that email, the third email I sent. So then I was like, okay, time to do a follow-up video, which in this video I'm keeping again with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even go into so much detail of what I've just described to you about the email. I just say we had back and forth and she wants me to apologize, which is ridiculous. And I need help to pursue this in court. Now, I battled with this for a week, deciding on what to do, because going to court is a very lengthy and expensive process. But here's the thing. If I don't go to court, if I don't pursue this, she gets away with it. Nothing happens. I'll have to drop the lawsuit, and she gets away with it scot-free. She just got a bit of attack from some people because of the video, and that's it. And who knows if she would do this with anyone else that she disagreed with. Maybe a year she'll be quiet, and then 2 years from now she'll start again. And it's not even really about her. It's about the behavior in general.
Sure.
If all her social justice warrior friends saw that, oh wow, Nikki was able to say this and nothing happened, it would just help and justify them to pursue cancel culture and all that stuff. So I'd said, you know what? I don't have the funds to pursue this legally, but I'm going to appeal to the people that have anyone that's been wronged by cancel culture, anyone that knows someone that has been wronged by cancel culture, especially if they didn't do anything wrong. I plead and ask for your kindness and generosity to help me raise funds so that I can pursue this in court. That is the way we're going to fight this. I don't want anyone to go and attack her. I don't want anyone to send her emails. I don't want anyone to threaten her. I don't want anyone to send emails to her place of work. That's not how we're going to win. She might lose her job. Then what? All that happens then is that people just don't mess with me. But I want the entirety of cancel culture and all these woke people and all these social justice warriors to see that there are real consequences when you go after someone who hasn't done anything wrong. There's a reason why defamation is in the law.
Yep.
There's a reason why what you did was wrong, and there are consequences, and they need to learn a lesson. The moment you can put down the gauntlet and say, what you did was wrong, you need to apologize. And if there's any, I don't think I'll make any money from it, but if there is, then so be it. But the main thing is apology. She needs to apologize so that people realize, wow, okay, you can't just go around canceling people. There are consequences to this behavior. And that's why it's so important that I go to court. Fighting cancel culture with cancel culture is not going to help. It's like fighting racism with racism. You just create more divide than anything else. Let the law settle this. So again, I appeal to people, and I hope that people will help me. So far, there have been a few donations, which I'm extremely grateful for and overwhelmed. I know that it's a very tough time for people. So even in the recent video that I uploaded, I say, I know that it's a tough time for everyone. So at least share the video, share it with your friends, share it with your family, get the news and the story out there, because the more my story gets told, the more other people who may have been wronged by cancel culture unjustly will stand up and know that they can stand up, that the law does help them, that is the best way to teach these social justice warriors who've been getting away with it for years. Enough is enough.
Well, Joe, let me just update folks. We've had a surge in viewers come in the last few minutes. So some people are like, what are we talking about? What's this about? So welcome to Chris Wide Africa. You're on the Indaba Africa channel here on YouTube. I'm Chris in Central Pennsylvania. It's a special feature today, running on my series of bringing interesting people in from around the world. In this case, from South Africa, with Joe Emilio, a comedian based in South Africa, who's American/South African, and a whole bunch of other things which we're always confused about. But Joe is dealing with an episode of cancel culture in which someone attacked him on no basis just because they disagree with his views, and didn't even discuss the views, just called him all kinds of names. And so he's pursuing a court case against this person who attacked him because it actually cost him his job. He lost his job. He did absolutely nothing wrong. So we'll talk about it in a second. But what's interesting when you follow along in the chat here, Joe, I don't know if you're catching it, you get interesting opportunities. So for instance, today we can learn Afrikaans. I didn't know what the word for sheep was in Afrikaans, but apparently it's skappies. Because Lenora wrote, hello, skappies, and I think she meant sheep from context. It's funny how you get things from context. And Morton answers, bah. So, and then lots of little sheep jokes coming along. So I'm guessing it's skappies is Afrikaans for sheep. Anyway, that was pretty entertaining. Listen, Joe, speaking of cancel culture, I don't know if you're keeping up on the disgusting and vile nonsense. By the way, Joe just put his link in to help. We'll get back to that and talk about how he's trying to raise money for the legal costs. But thank you for putting the link in there, Joe. But I don't know if you're keeping track of this event with this young lady named Savannah Chavez in Texas. Did you hear about this?
No, but I know about the young, or not young lady, but the lady in South Africa, Bianca.
No, that's Bianca from No, Savannah Chavez is the daughter, I think she's 15 years old, of a police officer in Texas named Ismael Chavez. He and his partner responded to a domestic abuse call. And when they got to the residence in broad daylight, the person inside, they knocked, and he fired through the door and murdered both police officers in cold blood. So she went on her Facebook, after her father is butchered over the weekend, murdered, and she writes this following. Was it on Facebook or Twitter? It might have been Twitter. She said, "Words cannot describe the pain I'm in, but I'm glad my dad is at peace. You were an amazing man, and anyone who ever came across you knew that. I'm going to miss you so much. You died doing what you love most. You died a hero. I love you, Daddy. See you soon." And then she put hashtag Blue Lives Matter, for which she was attacked vociferously and viciously and vilely, saying she's a racist, and that because she put the hashtag Blue Lives Matter, people said your father got what he deserved. They traumatized this young 15-year-old girl whose father was just murdered by a thug. By the way, Savannah, her father, people of color. Should I mention that? Yeah, people of color, Hispanics in Texas. And this is the kind of woke nonsense that's going on, where they attack a young child who's grieving over the loss of her father. She'll never see her father again, simply going out to respond to some woman being beaten in a house. And so these idiots that want to defund the police would prefer to cancel culture, get rid of the police, and just allow people to be beaten up in their homes with no one able to respond. And this is an example of cancel culture gone astray. It's absolutely crazy. And for you, fortunately, it's not anything physical. You didn't lose a family member over woke culture and a response to it. But this is really messed up. So let's talk about your effort to raise some money here. So what's it going to cost? Have the lawyers give you an idea what it'll cost to pursue the case against this person who attacked you?
35,000 rand. Someone in the comments, Renier, Joe Emilio, you will have to choose seeking legal remedy and shaming her on YouTube seem a bit unfair. I'm not sure what he's trying to say there.
Okay, I think Renier I think he's saying that you should choose a legal remedy because shaming her on YouTube is a bit unfair. I don't think you shamed her. I think you just stated the facts. You told her it was unfair. That to me, listen, Joe, I watched the first video, unless I don't remember the first one you did. To me, that wasn't a personal attack. That was a response, and a rather, I would say, measured response, a measured response to the way you were attacked. I mean, your response didn't cost her job. Your response, you didn't write to her employer and say, this slimy piece of crap has attacked me with no justification. You simply made a 3-minute video in which you said, hey, look, I've been attacked for things I never said or did because someone disagrees with my opinion. And this is the person, you're wrong, you should take it down, yada, yada, yada. Did I get something wrong?
No, you didn't. She, again, look, I've gotten this a lot from people saying that, even her saying that my video perpetuates cancel culture. It doesn't. At no point, go watch the video, anyone, both videos. Tell me, where do I say guys, go and attack her. Go email her boss. Go get her canceled. I don't. I state facts of what happened to me, because again, usually what happens, and this is what woke. Usually what happens if someone gets attacked like this, they don't say anything. They're quiet. They may deal with it on their own in their private capacity, quietly tell a lawyer, hey, this person did this, blah, blah. And yeah, I guess I could have done it that way. But if I did it that way, it's no one would know. No one would know that you can fight cancel culture. There is a way to fight it.
Yeah.
No one would know that, at least publicly, that this needs to stop. This behavior needs to stop. That I'm not the only one that feels this way. That there are a vast majority of people that feel this way, that want this culture, this behavior to stop. I spoke out because, yes, I could have been quiet about it, but then that's censorship. That's nothing happens. And anyway, I would have had to speak out about it eventually, because even if I didn't say anything about it, let's pretend for a second I didn't do that first video. I would have still come to this point where I need to appeal to the public and say, hey, I don't have a lot of work right now. I cannot afford to have a lawyer and take this to court on my own. So I'm asking for help. And trust me, I don't want to ask for help. I wish I could do this on my own, but I can't. But I feel that this is a very important topic and discussion, and something to stand up for. So for people to judge me and say like, yeah, but you're not really any better, blah, blah, blah. Nah, then you don't know the whole story. Because again, this person took away income from me. Put yourself in my position. Just put yourself in my position. Don't ask how much money were you making, Joe. It's principle. It is principle. I don't care if you're earning 50 Rand for a job or 50,000 Rand for a job. Principle. How can you be okay with someone taking away another person's income at a time when any job, it is so difficult to find? People are losing their jobs by the millions in South Africa.
Yep.
By the millions. And not just here, in America, in other places of the world. So for someone to attack you and take away any income from you, do not tell me that you would just be like, well, whatever, I'm going to be able to find another job. Oh, well, whatever. No, I'm sorry. It needs to stop.
No,
and
but
if you don't understand that.
It's beyond that, Joe, too. I mean, so what do you put in your CV? I worked for this place for 4 months and I stopped working there. Why? And they call up, well, we had to cancel him because he was a racist. What?
Exactly.
I mean, so the reputational damage is the bigger hit. I mean, the immediate hit for you is the money, but the reputational damage, which is unwarranted, it's unjust, it's unreal. And of course, people, when they act like these impetulant little children who were not spanked by their parents properly to discipline them growing up, when they behave in this fashion, throwing temper tantrums and calling people obnoxious things online because they're at a distance thinking they can get away with it, what they forget is that, it's not just that person. Nobody is alone in this world. Some people are physically alone, but nobody's truly alone. You have a family. In Joe's case, he has 17 illegitimate children in Egypt he has to pay for. So... No, but seriously, think about that. You take away someone's income, they've got to feed their family and their kids, right? Put them through school, buy things. And now you put people into destitution over. Now, it's different if a person comes out and they're abusive, they're anti-Semite, they're actual racist, or they attack people. That's different. Then you go after somebody like that. That's a whole different thing. And I'm not advocating that sort of thing. But in this case, you were essentially an innocent bystander. She didn't like something about you, and she decided to use that platform to harm you. And she didn't even know you personally. Did she get an orgasm from this abuse that she did? What does she get out of this other than being a complete and total ass?
What's also really sad is that what I was doing was keeping my business afloat. And I don't actually mention this a lot because there's a sense of pride with what I've been doing for the past few years, which is organizing comedy shows and stuff like that. And yes, to some extent, the lockdown can be blamed for the failure, or not the failure, but the shutdown of my business. Because obviously I had if there wasn't a lockdown, I wouldn't be so dependent on that gig. And that gig was, like I said, helping with some grocery expenses, and it helped. In some way, it helped. And it was also helping with my business. It was keeping certain expenses paid for. And if anyone goes now to comedycartel.co.za, they'll see the website is, I think today was the last day it was up. My Facebook page for Comedy Cartel has changed now. I had to shut down the business because I could no longer keep it running. Mm-hmm. And I don't like bringing that up because, again, it's a sense of pride. I don't like admitting that. And I don't want people to be like, oh, shame, it's like, whatever. It is what it is. I had to make a choice. Then that's it. And then, sorry, I can't pronounce that name. Rigaud,
I guess is the best we do with it.
Richardi.
Okay, just for clarity's sake, Joe is not trying to be humorous at the moment. He's struggling.
I am genuinely struggling. It's an interesting name. He says, what is Joe doing about it? Am I missing something? Can you be a little bit more specific? What exactly are you asking about?
Well, that's an apropos moment to take a second there. I was going to catch up with some of the chat things to just share with folks that have come out there. So Variable Vision asked us a question that's politically related, so we'll get back to that. But Errol said that Facebook banned him because banned me completely, saying I'm anti-Semite. I have no idea what Errol posted or didn't post it, but I just went to Facebook and confirmed that Ilhan Omar and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, two people who speak virulent anti-Semite comments on a weekly basis at a minimum, have Facebook pages that are up and running. So you got to love the double standard there. Ants42 says, well done. Joe, glad you took action. Let her feel the heat. Rajald was asking, Rajald said something else. He said, there's a specific topic I think you would be able to discuss very well. Well, let me know what that is after you answer Joe's first question there. And Yanni says, Joe, she can't play victim now. She needs to own up. And Erica, who's dealt with this herself, she was viciously attacked and lies were perpetuated about her over her farm. And she said, good for you, Joe. She said, yep, I kept quiet when my character was assassinated. And a lot of people do, because it's just not in the nature of people to be confrontational. And sometimes it comes out of left field. Like in your case, like, where's this coming from? What did I say? It's and I've dealt with it on a bit myself on LinkedIn. Nothing major, but things that crop up from time to time. A couple years ago, I'll tell the story very quickly, and we'll get back to that question because we'll give a chance for Rajal to put it back in there. He just did. But anyway, so I was on LinkedIn a couple years ago when Winnie Mandela passed away. And a South African who runs a PR firm had posted a link to a video from a South African, a white South African, where he did this video. I guess it was on YouTube, I forget. Anyway, and he said, I don't understand what people are so upset about. People are prostrating themselves, acting as if this woman's the greatest thing that's ever happened. She's a complicated person. She was convicted of the kidnapping that got Stompy killed, and in his death with her soccer team. She was later convicted by the ANC as a member of parliament for embezzling funds and stealing from the people. So she's a felon. Anyway, so he wasn't disrespectful, rude. He just stated the facts. He said, "I don't understand why people are, going crazy. It's not like Mandela died. Okay, come on." Anyway, so he said that. So I went, because she posted, I watched the video from the LinkedIn link. I went and watched the video, and I wrote back to her on the site, and I said, listen, I don't understand what you're upset about. And this is a person I have a professional relationship with, by the way. And I said, I don't understand what you're upset about. The gentleman wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't rude. He wasn't racist. He just stated the obvious. He said, and I said, the reality is that Winnie Mandela is a complicated person. She, for many of us in the West, she was the face of the apartheid opposition in the 1980s, because nobody knew who Nelson Mandela was. He was locked away at Robben Island. We'd never seen him. He'd been there since '63. I didn't grow up with Nelson Mandela in my mind, but I knew who Winnie Mandela was. Anyway, so in response, a number of black South Africans and other black Africans came out. And remember, my profile on LinkedIn is my dress uniform, right? I'm dressed professional uniform because I was still a serving officer. Gives my duty description, everything. It's all honest. It's verified. And they come back, oh, he's just a KKK racist colonizer, going on like that. And so I responded, professionally, objectively, and said, no, you don't know what the content of my character is. You don't know what's in my heart. And I venture to say I've saved the lives or improved the lives of more Africans than you ever aspire to. And I got attacked again. But the rewarding thing about LinkedIn is there's so many professionals on there that don't play with nonsense, that after a day or two, a lot of my followers and supporters on LinkedIn just started attacking the trolls, and the trolls were getting attacked left and right, and they gave up and went away. Now, they didn't attack them personally. They basically said, Sec, you guys, this is ridiculous. One guy comes on there who's an African that I know from Africa, says, you're crazy. You don't know Colonel Wyatt. He's the least racist person I ever met in my life. The things he's done for people is amazing. Anyway, yada, yada, yada. So my point is that it's a shame that Erica didn't stand up for herself, but it's not easy to stand up for yourself. It's challenging. And in this case now, Joe's got to come up with some quan. He's got to get some money, or he can't pursue this thing legally. And that's the bottom line. Now, I remember when this first happened, Joe's like, look, I'm not trying to make money. Some people might think this is, a clickbait thing to raise money. So I'm not asking for any money. And at the time, I did tell Joe, I said, well, you might need some. And it looks like, turns out in the end, he's going to need some for the legal case. So anyway, so if you can answer Rajal's question now, because he put it back up there. He clarified.
Yes. I did send him a link, and he'll check it out later. But in a nutshell, again, it's what to do now. It's pursuing it in the courts. That is what we do now. We need to make, I hate using this term because it sounds so vengeful, and I don't like sounding like this, but I can't think of a better way to put it. An example. We need to make an example out of the situation, which is, you
need to take a stand. That's what you want to say. Take a stand.
Yes. We need to take a stand. That's a much better way of putting it. Because it's not about making an example. Because I keep on saying this, it's not about Nikki. It's about the behavior. It's about this cancel culture that people think it's okay to do it. And that's the thing. The only reason why Nikki did what she did is because in her circles, it's okay to do it.
Right?
Yeah, no, she thinks it's okay to do it.
What she did, Joe, was a drive-by character assassination. That's what that's called. Drive-by character assassination.
Exactly. So I'm making a stand, and I'm saying, whoa. First of all, under normal circumstances, when someone gets canceled, it's usually because they said something like hectically racist, right? Like usually that's the case. Mm-hmm. I have never, and you can go on my Twitter feed, you can go on my Facebook pages, you can go anywhere, you can even watch all the hours of my YouTube channel. I am very much against racism, very much against it, very much pro-choice in terms of everyone deserves the right of choosing what they want to choose. Obviously, there's limitations within the law. I'm very much a centrist in that way. Like I'm libertarian, I'm maybe a classic libertarian, but and I definitely have conservative views. I definitely have a very nice mix. And this person now judges me because I retweeted Trump, and now I'm a racist and a homophobe and an Egyptian piece of shit. So that is what I am standing up against. I'm like, whoa, you don't even know me. We've never met. We've never had a conversation. How dare you make those accusations? And then it is those accusations that also led me to losing my income. How dare you think you have the authority when you don't even know me to make that call? I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line, and I'm standing up against it. And hopefully other people that hear about my story will also be encouraged to say, you know what, enough is enough. There is a way to fight this. There is a way to make things happen where these people can actually experience some consequences in their lives. And this is it. Going to court will force her to apologize. It will force her by law to apologize, because here's what's going to happen. Ronaldo said it himself. When we go to court, and should I win, the judge is going to lay down the gauntlet and say, okay, well, you have to apologize. And she's probably going to be like, no, I don't. And then he's probably going to be like, yes, you do, or you go to jail. So we'll see how much her stubbornness is going to last. But I doubt she'll want to go to jail.
Well, at the end of the day, Renier Duplessis said basically he was making a point that, and let me make the point that I think is more important. Renier says, Joe, even if you win the case with costs, the respondent may not have the money. Yes, that's probably true. But you know what? I seriously doubt for Joe this is about the money, although he's going to have to raise money to pay for it. And if people contribute, then it's not going to bankrupt him. We do it like a joint defense fund, help him out. But the bottom line is this. It's the judgment showing that she was wrong. That is what you want. That's what matters, because then you have it's kind of like the folks taking the ANC to the National Coronavirus Command Council to court, and having the court declare that much of their draconian lockdown was unconstitutional. Now, nothing has changed. They're still conducting the same unconstitutional things. They're still trying to, invade your vehicle and inspect it without any warrant or probable cause. They're still doing that in South Africa. But the judgment has been made. The mark stands in history, and we can march forward with that. And if you have rule of law, these things can be here too. So I think more important thing for Joe is to get the judgment against her to say that this person wronged me, and this is how they wronged me, and this shouldn't happen. That's what you're looking for, right, Joe?
Absolutely. Rainier, you bring up a very good point, and it is something that I had to weigh out when I decided to go with the legal action. I told the lawyer, okay, this is a part I can't mention, so I have to be careful.
Yep, be careful. Don't get yourself
of what I say. But what I can say is it's never been about the money. I've said that from the beginning. Yeah, what I can say is that, yes, there is an amount for, I think they call it, what's the term they use? There's an amount that the lawyer comes up with because it's damage to reputation, it's damage to certain things, and there is an amount that I can sue her for. But when I approached her out of my capacity, I said I would drop everything if you just apologize. It's never been about the money. And then she wants me to apologize. Okay. And I know that regardless of the amount, I'll probably never see it. And that to me is fine. What I know, which will be a bigger win for everyone, is for a social justice woke person to actually admit that being a Trump supporter does not mean you're a racist or a homophobe. Can you imagine for a second someone like that? Imagine Bianca saying that. I mean, look at what happened with Bianca. Nikki and Bianca are pretty much the same thing. Bianca was called out. What did she do? She doubled down, and she got herself into more. She refused to apologize. She refused. They all do. But here's an opportunity where you can swallow your pride for a moment, realize and be humble and be adult and mature, and realize, okay, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. Not anyone who supports Trump is a racist, homophobic piece of shit Egyptian. That's all I want. That's literally all I want. And then boom, it's gone. She can live her own life. I'll live my own life. We never talk to each other again. Don't give a damn about anything else. That's literally what I was asking for. And obviously, there were some terms like you need to mention it on your Facebook. You're this, you're that. Sure. But I mean, that's like fair. There was nothing else. That was basically it. That's all I asked. Yeah, and she can't do it.
Well, let me bring some of the comments in here. Where's the one I want to get here? So already did that one. Sorry. Yeah, so Rudy's offering some advice to go to another thing. But Toon said the truth is a difficult pill for people to swallow. Honesty these days is always taken as an attack. And in fact, I think that's a fair statement. Sharon Stone said, I take you out if you take me on. They never try me. I'm a vicious with them, period. Good for her. And Toon's made a very good point, and I've made this point repeatedly on my channel, trying to warn people, that people don't realize what they say on social media has real life consequences, and they can be held responsible for their conduct online. Now, even if you're not held responsible, that's material that's searchable. And when employers look at your CV, they're doing investigations on your background. And if they find things on there that are inappropriate, then you're not going to get a job. So that's important. Now, I learned this lesson long ago, not through my own pain, but because of Bill Gates. Back in the 1990s, Bill Gates was, undermining Netscape, intentionally trying to drive them into bankruptcy, when Netscape was actually a profitable company, because Netscape, unlike Microsoft, actually hired software engineers to write software, whereas Microsoft just bought software and brought lesser talent in for a period of time. Anyway, so Netscape was a dynamic company. It was doing really well, and so they were trying to undermine them. And Bill Gates wrote emails internally. He thought they were internal. And much to his chagrin, when they had the antitrust lawsuit against Microsoft, he discovered that email is subject to discovery in a court case. And he was hoisted by his own petard when they took his emails, and that's what they used against him as evidence in the court case. So you got to be careful, folks, about what you say and what you do online. It does have consequences. Now, if you say something, like in the beginning of this, I said that, white people are responsible for carbon dioxide. Someone could take that snip and go, see, he's a racist against white people. No. That's not the context. That's like playing the anti-Trump game. Trump says one thing, and then you don't include the entire speech, and you take things out of context. But just be responsible online. That's what really matters. And Rajal said, can I ask something? If someone makes a controversial point or wishes to differ from the rest of the group, is this personal by default a troll? No, if you make a point, but your point has to be legitimate. It can't just be, propaganda and nonsense. In Joe's case, what she said about him wasn't true. And she also did it in a fashion, it's unreasonable. She went onto a professional site where he was working for this company, doing business, working at that time, and attacked him online on their site. And as a consequence, it cost him his job. That's not acceptable. If she has a difference of opinion, Joe is a YouTube personality. Go on Joe's stream and chat it out with Joe and discuss it.
I'm going to correct you there.
Okay.
Sorry. She went on the live stream. She commented. Then she went and she contacted my client. Then she still made a tweet about it.
Okay.
Well, so 3 times.
All right. Well, I missed the tweet. That's what I did.
And then when I released the video, right, which again, factual, didn't say anything bad or horrific. All right. She had an opportunity. She had an opportunity to say, oh, crap. Okay, I made a mistake. Sorry, I always forget to mention this. After she did those 3 things, what did she do? She deleted the tweet.
Yeah.
She thought she got away with it. She thought she's like, okay, my job's done now. I win. A few days later, I make a video and I release it. What does she do? Instead of saying, crap, I've been caught. I'm sorry. Oh, my word, what I did was terrible, blah, blah, blah. No. What does she do? She retweets the tweet that she had deleted.
Well, forgetting that there was a reason she deleted it in the first place. Yeah, it's like criminals. Thank God most criminals aren't that bright, and that's how they can be caught. If only you have a criminal justice system that wants to prosecute them, unlike South Africa, which doesn't bother to prosecute most rapists and robbers, and those who murder people. But if you have a criminal justice system that's actually going to prosecute people, which apparently we don't have in cities like Seattle and Houston and Philadelphia and New York right now, where people can just run around and attack and shoot each other and murder people and steal in broad daylight. But if you have rule of law and order, there are consequences. You gotta behave yourself. You can't act like that.
Yep, absolutely. I see Rainier Duplessis says the other problem is you won't be able to prove urgency, and roll is so far behind the eviction order. You will only likely get a hearing date in 2021. Yeah, luckily my lawyer is very honest with me, and he did tell me that would.
Wait, Joe. Did you say lawyer and honest in the same sentence? I think that's a contradiction.
He's a very good lawyer. I would recommend him.
Usually that means a very expensive lawyer.
He is. But you know what? He doesn't mind me saying this. I've double checked with him.
Yep.
He actually gave me quite a very gracious rate cut to pursue this. A very, very nice rate cut, because he too and his firm also want to or feel that this is something worth fighting for. And having said that, he was honest with me. He said this is not going to be a short, quick, over the night, boom, you're going to win thing. It's going to take a bit of time. It's going to take at least a year. So yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. It's our justice system at the moment. It's slow. Obviously, with COVID, it doesn't help. So yeah, that's the reality, unfortunately. But I'll say this here: if she ever watches this thing, I'm still open. I'm like, there's no reason why she can't reply to my email. And like I said, my terms. And
end this thing now instead of drawing it out
over
the course of a year, making it part of your life for a year and her life for a year. Interesting. So Joe, I got to do a little bit of housekeeping here because Rajal said, example, I was on one of your compatriot shows the other night, made a valid comment and was called a troll because the rest of the crowd didn't like it. Well, Rajal, you've been on this channel, and I think almost all of the 65 folks currently tuned in now know this, and if they don't, they're new. If people say something that others simply disagree with, and one of my moderators sends them packing, I call my moderators to account. I've done that in the past, have I not? UCN was on here, and he said something that a moderator disagreed with. Now, the moderator thought the person was being abusive. I disagreed with that, so I brought the person back in the chat and said, let them be heard. It was just, when you're in chat, folks, you're typing things, people mistype, they're on mobiles. You try to do it quickly because the chat's going along, and sometimes the message doesn't get across clearly. Now, if somebody's being abusive, it's obvious they're being abusive. That happens. Plus, you got to remember that that things are blocked by YouTube. There are comments if you use profanity, and nothing to do with the moderator. It comes up. Joe, you're a moderator on my channel, and I'm a moderator on other channels. You know that you'll see things that are grayed out that most people can't see when they have vile comments like that, or things that YouTube determines vile. Although it's funny because the other day somebody said something white people, and that was blocked because they said white people. Apparently that's vile now to say white people.
Interesting.
So, yeah, but my point is that I can't speak for the other channel, Rachel. Write me an email in private if you want to have a conversation about that. You can find it on the About tab. I'm happy to address that, even if it's someone else's channel. I'll give you my thoughts on it. But on this channel, as long as you're not abusive to people, I mean, look, those of you watch this channel, you've seen Christian on this channel. Christian is, I think, a 12-year-old sitting in his mother's den, drinking Stary Stompies, whatever, and just having a good old time, throwing, talking points. He goes to the mainstream news media and he just copies things and pastes it in there and just throws nonsense out. And I tolerate Christian beyond belief, very patient with Christian. And Christian's actually been abusive. He called me a racist on Ronaldo's channel. He was trying to be cheeky, but that's not a cheeky thing to say. You don't call somebody a racist just in joking, which is what I think he was trying to do. But I've been very tolerant. On Ronaldo's channel, I'm a moderator. I could have deleted his chat right there on Ronaldo's channel. I had the power to do that. And I didn't do it because I didn't think it was appropriate for me to delete that when I was on someone else's channel. Anyway, so on my channel, if you got something to say, please say it. As long as you're not abusive or disrespectful to other people, it's fine. We'll deal with it. But anyway, Rochelle, write me in private and we can chat about it if you like. I'm happy to do that. People shouldn't delete people from the stream or take their chat away just because they disagree with them. Otherwise, we're just a bunch of sycophants, what I call self-licking lollipops who are sitting in the corner and we're telling each other, "Ooh, you're wonderful. You're great. Joe, you're hot, man. You're beautiful. Your comedy's amazing. Yeah. Okay." And then we never talk about anything substantive because we're just, busy patting each other on the back. So it's okay. Like Ronaldo, Jose, and I do not agree on everything. Some people think we do. We do not. We do not. I think he's wrong on some issues, and he mistakenly thinks I'm wrong on other issues. So we have to sort that out occasionally. Anyway, but
he mistakenly.
That's right. He thinks he's wrong. He thinks he's right, but he's not. So I have to fix him on it. But the point is that it's okay to have discourse. That's why I started my channel. Not started. That's why I took the channel in the direction I went. It was originally just supposed to support my consultancy, but I took it in a direction with live streams and prepared videos for discourse to get people to talk about things. And that's what we're trying to accomplish here. So anyway, yeah, I just want to make sure that got out there. Do you see something in the chat there, Joe?
Yeah, I see a lot. There's something about a comedy night, which I'll address just now.
Oh yeah, that was a long time ago. I was going to mention that, but you have something. So go ahead and share that.
Then there's Rainier who says her counsel will have told her any apology is an admission of wrongdoing, obviously, which is probably why she wants me to apologize. It's like a cat and mouse game, which, it's going to have to go to court if anything's going to get resolved at all, unfortunately. And yeah, it is what it is. I'll leave a link later on again in the chats for people who want to watch and get the full story in more detail. And then this comment about why not have a comedy night once a week featuring South African comedians it can slingshot Joe Emilio's career if he is the co-host. I like that comment. I thought my career was already good enough, but I'm kidding. No, there are a few issues with that. One, there are, at the moment in the comedy industry, there are a lot of comedians who actually don't want to do live streams too much, even though it is pretty much our only option. And at the moment, due to my outspoken views, as some people have called it, I am not favored in the comedy industry at the moment. Some comedians I'm not saying that they disagree with me. I'm not saying that they don't admire for what I'm doing, because I have gotten a lot of voice notes from comedians who say, you're doing something, usually we roll over and we wouldn't say anything, but you're speaking for us, we support you. There are guys that have, and girls that have said like they support me, but they can't say anything, because what people need to understand, and this is again from the cancel culture and the woke culture, is the moment you say something that they don't agree with, they disassociate themselves with you. So for example, being a Trump supporter, even though I'm not a hard, you must vote for Trump and all that stuff, I'm not constantly campaigning for him. Even just the notion, just the idea that I am one, they immediately want to disassociate themselves from me. because they think that if they're associated with me because I've admitted that, then they are also by association racist, homophobic, and all those terrible things that these small-minded people think, and they kind of put everyone in the same box, which is uh, exactly. And it's sad because every individual is allowed to have their own opinions. Exactly. Keep America great again. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinions, especially comedians. Comedians can say whatever they want to say, as long as, of course, it's not inciting hate speech or anything completely racist. Obviously, there are limitations to free speech, but it's sad that some of the comedians feel that they cannot be outspoken or have an opinion, whether it's good or bad. It saddens me greatly that is a thing in the comedy industry, and I'm actually planning on talking about it with the few comedians that have supported me, and they've been on my channel quite often. It's Oba King Moreau, Peter Sawanga, Mikhail Kaneka, and Vanner Weber. We're going to have a discussion in the coming weeks about how comedians are being censored because of the woke culture and cancel culture. This whole idea of the collective. So if you don't speak the same narrative that is in mainstream media, if you don't adhere to certain unspoken rules, the moment you say anything that goes against the narrative, you are disassociated from. That doesn't mean that they hate you. It just means that I can't be associated with this guy because he doesn't like BLM, or he doesn't like Me Too movement, or he doesn't like or he likes Trump, so therefore he is X, Y, and Z. And if I'm associated with that guy, then I am also, by association, those things, which is a woke way of thinking and a narrow-minded way of thinking. And unfortunately, that is what it is. And I know that some of the comedians have dissociated themselves from me, and that's fine. I know over time it will probably get better, and things will blow over, and things will probably be back to normal. But for now, for me to organize a comedy evening is very difficult. I do interview comedians on my channel, and we have a lot of fun doing so. And those are the guys that come on my channel. Either they are impartial to the issue, which is totally fine. I don't mind that. No one has to bear arms with me and fight this. But yeah, the ones that don't go on the channel, I'm not saying that they disagree with me. I'm just saying for whatever reason they don't want to be on the channel.
No,
So
people may not want to take fire right now. That's
yeah,
part of it.
exactly.
They've got to feed kids too, and legitimate or otherwise. So, but someone's talking about the collective. In many ways, this is like an episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. The Borg have come. Assimilation is futile. That's what's going on here. You will do as we tell you and be the serfs that we expect you to be, while we sit in our palaces and determine what you're allowed to eat, whether it's brown bread, white bread, or no bread at all. So there you go. But Joey, it's gone so far that people are ridiculous now. I'm very confused. I'm standing here beside myself. I'm understanding you cannot use an accent now when you're in comedy.
Yeah, you see, that's very racist, Chris. You cannot. You're a white colonialist who's not allowed to use not allowed to use accents of people that you have colonized. And that is extremely, extremely distasteful.
Dude, I've never been to India.
No right.
I've never been to India. They've colonized my country. I've never been to India.
Look, I think the whole thing is bullshit.
Of course it's bullshit. Of course it's utter nonsense. It's okay. We can slice this part of the video out afterwards.
This thing about the accents, people are just finding reasons to be offended. That's what's happening now. I did an article. I'll share that to the link as well. Please go read it. I did an article about how this woke and cancel culture is affecting even the arts. I talk about Leon Schuster's thing. I talk about how there's censorship in the arts as well. And I was really pissed off. I'm genuinely pissed off, actually. But there is very quickly. I like what. Regardjish.
Just say Rijard.
Rijard. Where is that comment now? Oh, there it is. That's exactly my point, Joe. On some channels, the presenter is like a god, and if you dare say something different, you're attacked. How is that conducive to proper discussion or different views? Okay, so I think also Chris was right. Some moderators do kind of have a knee-jerk reaction, but you must understand as well, and this is from both sides. Some sometimes even for me, it's very difficult not to have a knee-jerk reaction to someone who has a different view, because sometimes, depending on how you phrase it, I might make an assumption, which is wrong, that you are another social justice warrior, or you're another woke person, and I know that if I engage in conversation with you, it's not going to go anywhere, and we're just going to go into a perpetual circle of mental gymnastics, and we're not going to actually get to any real debate or discussion or conclusion. So that's why sometimes moderators will jump to a conclusion. Am I condoning it? No, of course not. On my channel, I'm also trying to make sure, and if I do get moderators, I will tell them, like, please give the people a chance. Like, if they are hounding, if they are being really insulting, like calling people racist or whatever, then yes, ban them. But if they're just spitballing some ideas or they have an opinion, don't just knee jerk and get them off the stream. I want to have a discussion about it. And I think for the ones that you're calling they are like God or whatever, you must understand some of these guys as well have been doing this for so long that they are just sick and tired of people who come across as woke or social justice warriors, and they just don't have the energy to fight that person. What I would do if I was you is maybe send that person an email and say, hey, I really just had an opinion and I really just wanted to have a discussion. You will find out then that person will probably be like, I'm really sorry, I'll unban you and let's discuss it. It's just a self-preservation tactic, and I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying we have to also understand that. So again, communication is key. But again, I'm not forcing you to do that. If you don't agree with what they're saying and you don't want to watch them anymore, that's your right as well. Unsubscribe.
Actually, there's a little bit of comments I want to get in there quickly, but you guys notice I had to help Joe, the pretend American, with his English because he's a little trouble with English there. But anyway, so
you're so racist today, Chris.
I'm just all over it, man. I'm on top of it. Where's my KKK flag at? Yeah, good crazy. Joe, I've never in my lifetime met a single person in the KKK anywhere in my entire life. The only time I've ever actually seen them physically was on television in 19.
They do great barbecues.
Ooh, leave it to the comedian to use the off-color joke there. Ooh. Yeah, no, but no, the only time I've ever seen the KKK was at a rally in the 1970s in Columbus, Ohio on television. They were demonstrating against court order busing. Never seen them. Obviously, they exist. There's idiots out there, but I've just never come across them. Anyway, so let me get some of these things. So Dogbreaker says, I have comments purposely ignored on other channels because of streamers. It's also pushing out a certain conversation. Yeah, it does happen. Folks, listen, honestly, if you disagree with me, tell me you disagree or if you agree. But I think I go to great effort here. Now, I don't have 24,000 subscribers filling the chat instantly, so I have the ability to keep up with it. But I go to great effort to try to include everybody. Now, if you're a paid member of the channel, of course, I'm going to try to get your comments in. That's a benefit, a perk of being a member. But even for the people who aren't paid members who pop in, even trolls, I try to bring as much as I can. I don't catch everything. But, I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm trying to have a conversation here. That's what it's really about. So, Willem Janssen van Rensburg, I love that name, man. It's awesome. Should America go down, we all go down, mark my words. Well, yeah, I'm with you, Willem. If the U.S. goes down, it's all over. Elizabeth was telling Rajal also sometimes 200 characters limit's too short, express, and that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier is it's really difficult. Now, Rudy said something very nice. What I enjoy about this channel is the way subjects are discussed. Proper debate without being nasty, great guests, and a ton of interesting info. Well, thank you so much, Rudy. By Donkey. I really appreciate it. That's the goal. That's what we're trying to achieve here. And now, one more thing I would say, Joe, is that when it comes to booting people, I finally did allow this to happen. Like, what do you do? You bombing my chat there, Joe? Good Lord. No, just kidding. But one thing is when it comes to people on the channel, I did allow moderators to boot a troll who was distracting. Was it Marlies was on the channel? I think it was Marlies was on here, a young lady from Namibia who's in the Netherlands. She had that, she ran her bicycle into a rugby goalpost and it went viral and she became a minor celebrity. And the person was just throwing politics out, talking about Trump and about America's colonizing and all this stuff. And I let my moderators boot that person out because it became such a distraction in the chat that people started leaving the stream. And it wasn't about that nonsense. It was about my guest. If you don't want to talk about the topic at hand, or a subject, the person at hand. Like, yeah, I had Dolan Stanford on my stream on Tuesday, who's a former USA Sevens rugby player and a World Rugby commentator. Now, if people had started asking questions about, Dolan, tell us about farm murders, I'd have been like, okay, no, that's not what this topic is about today. We can talk about that another time. So I think that's another time when it's appropriate to give a timeout. And that's what I encourage, is give a timeout when someone misbehaves. Don't just boot them, but we can boot them eventually. Anyway, so there.
Yeah. No, that's true. Look, there has to be limitations to it. I mean, some of these people do become distracting to other people in the chats, and some of them just do it to really harass some people, which is not right. Which is why I say, like, there are limitations. Tian says, Joe, where do we draw the line between fighting against cancel culture versus just fueling it by giving it attention? Not referring to your case, but would like your opinion. Again, I'm glad you asked that question. It's a very good question. This is, again, why I'm doing what I'm doing. Take it as an example. If you get canceled wrongly, and even if you get even if you say something racist and someone cancels you, right? Or you get canceled, then you have, let's pretend this scenario, right? You've been canceled because you actually said something racist, right? Mm-hmm. Then you should apologize because you did say something racist.
You were out of bounds. Different. You were wrong.
Yeah, you were wrong.
That's a yellow card.
Yeah. However, do I think that them attacking you and canceling you and costing you your job because you said something racist? This is where the lines for me get kind of blurry, because I think that, yes, people who are racist should be called out. But it's almost the same debate, I think, that a lot of people have about the death penalty. I think it's one debate that we'll probably never, as a group of or a society, will ever agree on. Because while some people believe that, yes, if you murder someone, you deserve to be murdered back, but there are the other school of thought where it's like, yeah, but who are we to decide to kill someone? In its simplest form, that's basically what the debate is. Mm-hmm. And it's the same concept of cancel culture. If you get canceled, you lose your job. Do you have the authority now to cost someone else's livelihood? Mm. That's a very philosophical and big discussion to have. I don't think I have the authority to really make that call. But what I can do, and what I think we should do, is take the higher ground. Think of it this way. If you get canceled, whether it was right or wrong, and you then decide, okay, well, I'm going to cancel you back. Aren't you then just lowering your standard to the same standard as that person? Shouldn't we all be willing to take the higher ground and be like, okay, I got canceled. Is there a way I can fight this? If you got canceled because you were being a douchebag and you were racist, then own up, apologize, and maybe you'll save whatever dignity you have left. But if you were really wrong by cancel culture, like in my situation, then I don't think fighting cancel culture with cancel culture is the right maneuver to take. I think the best way is to show people that there is another way. We don't have to fight back people the same way they fight us. And there are people that will say, yeah, but, they'll try and use analogies like, yeah, but if someone is pointing a gun at you, or you're not going to point a gun back, you're not just going to have a discussion. That's a different situation. Of course, cancel culture is not the same as pointing a gun to me. My life isn't necessarily in danger because I lost income. There are other ways for me to make up that gap if I work hard and stuff like that. Yes, I'm in a worse situation than I was before, but I'm not necessarily going to die, at least not yet. So that's where we have to weigh out the situation and take it each one individually. Each circumstance will be different. What I'm trying to say is there is another way. There is another way, instead of going like, well, you cancel me, so I'm going to cancel you. I don't think that's how you fight cancel culture. I think you fight it with the law. I think you fight it by standing up to it. So if you get wronged, feel free to make a video. Just don't do what they did to you. State the facts, let people know what happened, and take it from there. And you don't have to make a video. You can just go to a lawyer and be like, look, this guy did this, or this person did this to me, blah, 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 defamation, wada. And let's, I want to pursue, I want to get this person. And that's it. You don't have to make a big hoo-ha out of it. I'm doing it because there are very few people who have stood up against it. And I feel in my situation, again, I did nothing wrong. I did absolutely nothing wrong. And nothing pisses me off more than being accused of something I didn't do. And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, Joe. I don't know if you have to go here shortly. If you had something you were premiering, whatever. We're just over an hour right now. If you can go a little bit longer, we can go a little bit longer. But even if you're going to, okay. I did want to address one thing I just saw in the chat, and Joe, you can jump in on this because I'm going to try to explain this as best I can from my perspective. So, Lean says, "I'm trying to understand how does somebody cancel you." Well, let me give you an example of cancellation. Okay, so when Donald Trump was inaugurated a few years ago on Inauguration Day, I was in Scranton, Pennsylvania, up there to watch 2 ice hockey games. I was there for the Friday game. I stayed overnight in the Hilton, what the heck's that called? Hilton Garden Inn. Anyway, stayed in the hotel across the street from the ice hockey rink because I could walk there and we can have a beer or two and not have a traffic accident. Anyway, so the Friday game was over. It was Saturday. The game wasn't until that evening. There's not much to do. Hang on, there's another person subscribe. Max, yep, thank you. Kyle, Max, and someone else just a while ago. Thank you guys for subscribing. So I was waiting for the hockey game that evening, and Trump was being inaugurated, or he'd just been inaugurated the day before, I think Friday, whatever. Anyway, so there were protests. Remember all these protests that took place and these things taken. So I turned on the television, and I'm switching between the channels in the hotel room. I had MSNBC, Fox, CNN, back and forth, and plus I checked a couple of local channels, and they were all covering this situation, and almost all of them were making it look like this was a horrific day. All these women were down there protesting, and they showed, women dressed as bloody vaginas, and they showed, with walking around sits and these vile comments, and they showed Madonna's disgraceful, terroristic language and so on, Gina, all these people. And so someone that I know and I had respected for a long time who worked for the Congressional Research Service, which is the body that does essentially like intelligence work for Congress, so that the members of Congress who don't know jack about life actually know something, they're informed about it. So what happens is that I have been a source for this person for multiple reports over the years in Africa, and I worked very closely with them when I needed some information and I needed something, say, from Congressional Research Service whose reports aren't publicly available. I could reach out to this person, they would make it available to me. Well, I was writing a book for the Army a couple years ago on a research study, and I needed some information, and this is where cancel culture comes in. This person who I'd had a very professional relationship with, known since before she got married, then she got married, known her afterwards, maintained this relationship over about 12 years professionally. And she came onto Facebook, because I never go on Facebook and made the mistake of going on Facebook that day. And she popped in a chat and she says, "I don't know what these people are talking about. This is a wonderful thing. I was in my house. I saw marchers go by, but they were calm. I walked outside." And I said, "Well, that's perhaps your perspective, but what's being shown on television is completely different. They're making this out to be basically like a riot, and people are acting the fool. It's shameful. Little kids walking around and women dressed as dripping vaginas and walking around with their breast exposed. That's not what you do around children." Anyway, she goes, "That's not what it's like." I said, "Well, that's not what we're seeing." And she sent some pictures. She posted them on Facebook, and it was calm. Wherever she joined the march, people were behaving themselves. None of that behavior was present. So I said, "Thank you for posting that on Facebook. I really appreciate that, because we're only getting one side of this. And it's not Fox, it's MSNBC, it's all of them, because they want viewers. They're showing the controversial stuff. They're not showing the whole thing." So I said, From my perspective, if these people just be honest about this is simply because they hate Trump. And she's like, "No, it's not. It's about more equal pay. It's about, about more women in government, more women representing. It's about women's rights. Trump is a bigot." I said, "Okay, well, you can say Trump's a bigot, but it's not about that. Because if women wanted equal pay and they wanted to defeat Trump, they would have campaigned in last summer when Congress was in session, because Congress wasn't in session during the inauguration. They would have done their protest last summer when it's not 30 degrees, but it's 7 degrees outside, and you can walk around and thousands of people will watch you. Or they could have done it in late October before the election in D.C. to get people's attention, to galvanize people not. But now they've lost the election. They're angry because Trump got elected, so they're coming out and acting like spoiled children, and they're acting in a disgraceful manner, many of these people. Guess what?
Yeah.
I no longer have a professional relationship with this person because of that conversation. I never called her name. I never attacked her views, never attacked her beliefs. I said that most of these people are out here doing this because they hate Trump. It has nothing to do with the things that they're arguing about, because they didn't try to change this. This wasn't an issue when Barack Obama was president in the summer of 2015. Suddenly it's an issue, or 2016. I said so, and because of that, I needed her help on a project that I was working on for the Army, and I requested, and she ignored my email. Then eventually she got my email. I could see that it was read because of government systems. We can tell when somebody's message is read. She just ignored it. And that's an example. And that's a minor example of cancel culture, but that's a way that didn't affect my professional reputation, didn't affect my life, didn't affect my livelihood, didn't affect my joy of life. But what it did affect is my ability to perform my job in a professional manner because I need access to information which she had access to, which I'm entitled to get. I just need to talk to the right person. And that person is no longer the right person because she didn't like my views. And that was in 2016. I still haven't heard back from this person. And we're still connected on Facebook because she just ignores me. Anyway, that's a minor example of what cancel culture is. That's a cancellation of a professional relationship. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I think a much simpler definition is basically if you get attacked for your personal views or your opinions to the point where you are damaged reputationally and maybe professionally. For example, what Chris Wyatt said, my situation, and also Leon Schuster, for those of you who are in South Africa who know that Showmax just took it upon themselves to delete some of his content. Those are examples of cancel culture, and I think that can sum it up nicely. I just want to do a shout out quickly to Herman Roos, who made a very, I just saw it now. So this is me answering you, Herman. I did get your donation, and it was a very, 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 very generous donation. So I almost started crying on your stream, Chris. I cannot thank. Please, guys, go follow Herman. I think he does have a YouTube channel. Wow. Thank you, Herman. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, Herman, thanks a lot, man. Now you've started. Now we've got to top you. So now we've got to go top Herman. So we'll have to figure out how much Herman donated, so we know we can do R1 more.
If he says that I can say it, I'll say it. I don't want to.
Well, if he did it, we'll have to know so we can do R1 more, or at least one South African cent more. But no, hey, Herman, thanks for supporting Joe in this cause. Now, Leon just came back and said, "Thank you for explaining, Chris," and Joe obviously because he heard that. I understand. Now hit me with woke. Okay, let me give an example of woke. The example I talked about earlier and it won't be as long as the previous example, Joe, so you can stop laughing. But the previous example I talked about, Savannah, what was the last name? Young lady's last name, Savannah Chavez. Savannah Chavez, the young lady who's 15 years old, whose father was murdered. A serving law enforcement officer in Texas, he and his partner went to respond to a domestic dispute. And when they approached the place, they knocked on the door, and this 23-year-old shot both police officers through the door and murdered them in cold blood. Now, she's 15 years old. He was murdered on Saturday. And because of the current climate, this woke climate, which people distort everything. So what they did is she went online and she posted this comment on her Facebook page, and she was attacked for that. So let me get back to that. This is what Savannah said on well, maybe it's Twitter. I think it's Twitter. But anyway, she said, words cannot describe the pain I'm in, but I'm glad my dad is at peace. You were an amazing man, and anyone who ever came across you knew that. I'm going to miss you so much. You died doing what you loved most. You died a hero. I love you, Daddy. See you soon. Now, this is a 15-year-old girl whose father was just murdered. She will never see her father again. Yeah. What did she say? The only thing she added to that at the end is she put a hashtag Blue Lives Matter with a little blue heart. And this is the woke vitriol. Now, wokeness is distorting reality to achieve a political objective, to damage people and to cancel them out and get rid of them. So have this person says, Camilla Mrs. Ari at hashtag Black Lives Matter. Being a cop is a choice. Laughing my ass off. And last time I checked, blue people don't exist. Maybe educate yourself. To a grieving 15-year-old. That's woke culture right there. That's what that is. I'm so sorry for your loss, but you didn't have to use a racist hashtag. Excuse me? Blue Lives Matter is a racist hashtag? That's what they're trying to say. And then someone called Local School Tot. Okay, well there you know about that. Person makes their username Tot, that hoe over there. Okay, you know that this person's about. Child, do you know what Blue Lives Matter means? Unless you become educated enough to understand why posting what she posted this moment was a bad thing, don't talk to me. It's called reading the room. Oh my gosh. So it goes on and on, this abuse. So this 15-year-old girl took down her tribute post to her father who'd been murdered by criminals because these woke social justice warriors attacking her because she said something they disagreed with, and so they destroyed her. This is pathetic. That's what being woke is. Joe, what's your view on woke?
Oh, I'm doing a series on woke at the moment. I encourage everyone to go watch it. It's me and 4 other comedians who are talking about this woke culture and cancel culture. It's been a fascinating conversation thus far. We're on part we're coming up to part 4. Robin Hassan, who's in the chats, has been watching it as well. She can comment and give her view on the series. But yeah, we go into depth. We go really deep with that stuff. Mikhail Kanaka has been, oh man, he's dropped some truth bombs that are beautiful things that he says about the work, calling them out basically on the way of thinking and stuff like that. And actually, tomorrow evening, I think this will really help your viewers if they're interested. If anybody wants to know about the work, I'm going to get the link very quickly. I know it sounds like I'm promoting, but this really has to do with what we're talking about. I am going to be chatting with this lovely lady who has a philosophy PhD, and she has agreed to chat with me on my channel about critical thinking, which is where wokeness kind of comes from, and how it's distorted critical thinking and stuff like white fragility, white privilege, racism, systemic racism, all these little keywords and stuff like that, where these woke people have twisted, and we're going to talk about all that tomorrow. And I'm very, very excited because she has studied it, and she told me that she put it so nicely in the message to me, but she basically said she understands the flaws of this philosophy that is being perpetuated at the moment. So if anybody wants to know more about that, please tune in tomorrow. Set a reminder. I left a link there. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. But you can also go on my channel and find the woke conversations. But I guess in a nutshell, woke is woke. Its original definition, its original purpose came out of something good. Wokeness, its definition is being awake to the wrongs of racism and other injustices in society. It sounds like a good thing. It sounds like, hey, well, I'm woke, anybody can be woke. But what social justice warriors and the far left, the radical left have done is they've twisted everything. They've taken this, what was a good idea, and they've just taken it and ran with it and been like, okay, in order for us to be woke, we have to find offense in everything. We have to find racism in everything. And we have to find it, even where it's not. And then we got to tell people about it. And because we're racists and we know we're racist, we can then educate other racists on it. So that's
well,
basically
my view on that is the woke culture was never right. It was always a political attempt to marginalize and demonize people. I get a kick out of hearing this nonsense from these scuzzball bigots and racists who claim that others are racist, who say America is a systemically racist country. It's for this reason, that reason. And this nonsense, this idiocy from this person receiving a state salary, teaching in Washington State at a university, writing a book called The Most Hate-Filled Racist Diatribe called White Fragility, which was now recommended by the director of the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency to his staff, military and civilian, that they should read it to understand. The man is full of horse manure. A 3-star general, he ought to be taken out behind a woodshed and caned for his idiocy. Promoting a racist book because you want to be woke, that's utter nonsense. I'm so sick of this crap. This. Anyway, there was a couple things here I want to get from the chat very quickly. So Gareth said, hang on. Oh, Gareth was responding to Robert saying, same as everyone, but if ex-ESCOM employees beg to do the job for free, why pay Germans to do the job they don't know the lay of the land? What he's talking about is news breaking today that Germany is going to save ESCOM in South Africa by bringing technicians and engineers to. By the way, folks, I have a video that will be produced as soon as we go off the air here, and I'll publish it online later about that topic, about ESCOM and about the Germans saving the day. There's a little hint as to how it's going to come out, but we'll talk about that. Martin van Vuren says, I was attacked in my house in South Africa. Gun was left behind by intruders. I posted a photo on Twitter stating that a black guy had just attacked me and he had his gun on him. I got screwed because I mentioned black. Yeah, exactly. That's just ridiculous. Or here, I mentioned in the video I did about Trump yesterday. Now, people that know me know that in the context of South Africa, I've always done this because of the historical role of it. When I say white and black in South Africa or Indian and colored, I always capitalize the noun because it is used as a noun, not an adjective. In America, historically, white and black was meant to describe people not as an ethnic group, but to describe people based on their appearance. So now the media has decided that black must always be capitalized. Now, in the report that I did about where they lied about Trump and his interview with Catherine Heritage yesterday, every time they write white, it's lowercase. Every time they write black, it's uppercase capitalized, and Hispanics capitalized. The only three words there that are properly capitalized in the English language, the only word is Hispanic because it's an actual proper noun. It's a proper name and description of an ethnic group. White and black are adjectives. They describe people based on their appearance. If you're going to capitalize black and do it in the same fashion I do for South African context in the U.S., then you need to capitalize white. But why don't they capitalize white? Because they're trying to diminish white. But back to my point here. If white people are so racist and so bigoted and this white fragility is real, how is it we allowed 89% of the country was white when I was born, 89%. Today it's 73%. How is it we've allowed 60 million people of color to come into this country if we're so fragile? And why is it that 1 out of 5 marriages in this country are interracial between a white person and someone else? Mostly Asians, but blacks also in there. But it's interracial. If whites are so fragile, why do we marry outside our group more than black women never marry outside their group? White men and white women do it frequently. 1 out of 5 marriages are interracial. So this concept of white fragility is just horseshit. It's perpetuated wokeness to, they're trying to take a small number of a minor percentage of a fraction of the population who maybe actually are the way that this book is saying and portray 226 million white people. And I do that in quotes because I don't know what the hell white is. I'm pink, so I'm not really white. Anyway, except when I get burned, then I'm like Joe. I'm from Texas. I'm Hispanic, and I start bringing out my tacos and enchiladas, and then I'm good to go. Anyway, so
have you read that book, White Fragility?
No, and I'm not going to read it. I don't have to. I've read excerpts of it, and that's all I need to see. Some of the paragraphs I've seen were taken out of the book. I'm not going to subject myself to it. I did buy Ambassador John Bolton's fantasy fiction. His little book that he wrote on Fantasy Island with with Mr. Rourke and Tattoo. The plane. So I did buy that book so that I can read it and tear it apart on future streams about the lies.
Well, you should do the same with White Fragility, man.
Maybe I could shoplift.
I think you can tear it apart.
Maybe I could shoplift it or steal it or beg somebody to buy it for me. I'll stand outside of the bookstore and say, "Listen, I'm a dyed in the wool. I'm not going to say the word because someone will take the clip and go, see, he admits he's that. I'm one of those people. So could you buy that book for me? Because I need to understand what my problem is. Can you just buy that book for me? I don't have the money to buy it. I gave all my money to this organization that discriminates against people." So,
yeah. I just really, again, want to mention this. Herman Roos saying, apparently I can say what the amount was. Okay. And he says that he's challenging anyone to top his amount.
Oh, well, that's cool. I like that. 1 billion rand. 1 billion rand. This is like the ESCOM bailout.
He gave 5,000 rand, which is the most anyone's given.
Oh my God, Herman! Wow, that is very generous. Whoa!
Extremely generous. So I don't know if anyone's going to top that.
That's a lot to top, my friend.
Yeah, but I do know that some people. I've left the link. I'll leave it again. I do have a donation page, but I think some of them are having a bit of a difficulty. Herman reached out to me and asked for my banking details. So if anybody wants to do an immediate transfer, that's fine. I can provide my banking details. I'll leave my email now in the comment section, and I can send it to them. So here is my email, comedian@gmail.com. I'll probably will place my bank details in the fundraiser page because he's not the only one who's asked me for the bank details rather. So yeah, I'll probably do that. But again, guys, huge thank you. Flip, dude, I can't even
wow. I'm gobsmacked. Wow, that's very generous, Herman.
Please support him. He's actually one of the farmers that are fighting. I think you've had him on your channel.
I did. He was a great guest, and I was the first guest on his Farmers Travels, which was pretty cool.
Yes.
We talked on there. It was a lot of fun, and it was an interesting experience because he was just getting started. He's like, "Okay, let's do this." I'm like, and we pre-recorded it, which I'm not really comfortable doing a stream pre-recorded, but we did it. And we started a couple of times like, "Hey man, just relax, just be yourself," and then he was himself, and it was a lot of fun. So I thank you for letting me be the first guest on there, Herman. Let me see. There's a couple other things here. Toon says, Much like the white people proclaiming guilt for being born white, I don't get it. How can you feel guilty for being a certain race? Well, the argument that's often perpetuated is that people did that to black South Africans, made them feel, and that's what Steve Biko was trying to come about with black consciousness, is you should be proud of being black. So if it's okay for Steve Biko, and I think it was okay for Steve Biko to say that people should be proud of being black, there's nothing wrong with being black, and it's the same token here in the States, then why should you be ashamed of being white? That's just asinine. That's bigotry and racism. That's what that is. When you tell people to be ashamed, when you take a knee and bow in front of somebody, nobody bows. That's subservient. You don't bow to anybody. That's shameful. Maybe to your creator, that's an exception. And Jacques Smith says, when you see racism and everything, I would argue that you are the problem. Well, I would not disagree with you, Jacques. I think you're spot on. Herman also said that he just tried to set up a Facebook page for Farmers Travels, and it says his account's disabled. What the F? I never set up a Facebook account. Well, listen, folks, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on the last 48 hours on social media. Yeah. Twitter was hacked. Apparently Jeff Bezos' account and a whole bunch of other people, millions of accounts. And now they can't, they're trying to determine whose accounts are verified and not verified. Now, what I don't know is if this the Chinese, the leftist, or someone on the right who's trying to get even with Twitter. It could be any of those groups. So I'm not going to make any claims who it is, but it's not good. And then some people making recommendations earlier about with YouTube, you should back up your videos. I agree with that. I back up my videos, although I haven't done it for a few days, so probably better do it very quickly. But because you don't know when you'll be shut out of a platform and then all your content is lost, you should keep a backup copy of it somewhere, or multiple. I always keep multiple copies. But it's not just Twitter. Facebook has had problems in the last 48 hours. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, my YouTube channel, 3 days of data are just missing. And my subscriber base dropped by 80 in like a second. And then overnight, it's come back up. So I suspect I actually have more subscribers on the channel than actually show up. But no, it's really weird things are going on with social media. And it's probably because they're being targeted, because people are pissed off on both sides of the aisle. Because the behavior of the tech titans in social media has been reprehensible, especially Twitter. Twitter allows anti-Semites to spew their hate-filled racist bile, members of Congress no less, on Twitter. And then they fact-check Donald Trump. Are you serious? For his opinion. Anyway, yeah, so it's just crazy. I mean, how do you fact-check someone's opinion? You're an idiot. Well, let's see. That wasn't in the Encyclopedia Britannica anywhere, and we can't find any information from the Department of Labor Statistics, and that's not the number of. Oh, shut up! It's an opinion. Donald Trump made an opinion statement, and when he does do facts, then they distort that. Yesterday's argument was he was interviewed by Catherine Heritage, and Donald Trump said that more white people are killed than anyone else, which is true, by police. And then in the story, they start talking about, well, the data doesn't support that because proportionally, as a percentage of the population, more black people are killed. Yeah. And now why is that? It has to do with circumstances, right? Anyway, so it's you can't trust this stuff. It's just all over the place.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This kind of stuff feels like it will never end. I don't know when we're just going to, I wish people would realize, I mean, I know a lot of maybe people on our side know that, we're just good people. We just want to live our lives, work hard, provide for our family, be free to do what we want to do, buy what we want to buy, believe in what we want to believe in. And I hope that one day, I don't know, some ray of sunshine will hit the left and they'll be like, you know what? It's time we stop this, It's just causing more divide than anything else.
Yeah, no, it's just crazy, Joe. I mean, it's taking itself to its inevitable idiocy when you see things like the statue of Frederick Douglass torn down. And you see statues of abolitionists with people spray painting KKK colonizer on top of people who dedicate their entire existence to helping people escape slavery, to educate them so they were literate, help them get jobs. It's just utter nonsense. And now we see the idiocy going up around the world. So it's just taking its natural. Now, Renier Duplessis said Joe's a Texan. Indeed, he's a Texan. Joe was born in Texas.
Born and raised
in Texas, then moved to Egypt, lived there for a while, and then moved to South Africa. And that's because he has South African heritage and he has Mexican heritage. But I guess that makes him an American. We can include that. Some Mexicans were here before we were, so they get to count. That's funny. It's funny, Joe, because in Texas, if do you know San Antonio at all, or it's been a long time since you've been back, so you probably don't. Okay, but
we used to go to San Antonio a lot.
Okay, well, San Antonio is a place that I find, Texas is strange because it's not like California. And in a lot of ways, let me explain. In Texas, you don't have this. You always have antagonism between people, but in Texas, you don't see the tensions you see in some other places, like in California, between Anglos and Hispanics in some neighborhoods, like in LA and places like that. But in Texas, you have Anglo and Mexican, Texan, Spanish culture merge all the time. The number of white Anglos and Hispanics who intermarry, it's just off the charts in San Antonio and that part of Texas. And people go to each other's events, they hang out, people get along. It's just a blend of things, and people get along there. So I find it ironic to hear all the nonsense people are always talking about things. But Texas is growing rapidly. The character of the state is changing, and not just because of an influx of people from south of the border, but also from around the country and around the world. Texas now has 19 million residents, and it was adding congressional seats in this election. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wow, 19 million.
Right in the next election after the census is done.
Ooh, yeah. I haven't been to Texas in quite some time. Last time I was there was probably 15 years ago. So yeah, my memory of Texas is unfortunately vague. But yeah, it sounds like it's grown a lot.
It is. It's one of the fastest growing states in the country. And unfortunately for Texas, they're getting a lot of internal migrants from places like California. And people come from California. Whoops, did we just lose the voice here? What happened to sound? Can you hear me, Joe?
That was a bit of a connection, yeah.
Yeah, it froze up there for a second. Okay, can you hear me? I said, unfortunately for Texas, what's happening is with all the in-migration from around the country, you're getting people from broken states like California, and that's okay. If you want to flee California and move to Idaho or move to Texas, that's fine. But don't bring your broken political ideas with you, which is what happens. It's kind of like Ilhan Omar escaping Somalia, where she's not subjected to the horrors of that place, coming to America, where we graciously welcome her and allow her in, even though she committed immigration fraud. At least that's what the charges are that they're trying to press against her. She comes here, we allow her to come to this country, and then she gets free this, free that, free this, free that, goes to university, gets an education, and then she turns on this country by propagating lies and myths about America and running her mouth and speaking the most foul fashion about other Americans of all grades and races and it's the fifth column. It's the Manchurian candidate nonsense. And that's what's happening in Texas. You have people from around the country with broken political ideas, fleeing their broken political ideas, and then trying to implement them when they get to Texas. And it's really sad. I hope that doesn't happen. That's one of the reasons why Texas has been changing its character a bit. But when you add people, it's crazy. It's just crazy.
I hope it doesn't change its character. Damn, Texas is a state that has a lot of pride and a great reputation, a powerful state as well, economically and resourcefully as well. And it's always been known, don't mess with Texas. There's a reason why that's a saying in America, and in Texas especially, don't mess with Texas. So I hope that never changes, but I guess only time will tell. I do think that, I don't know, some hardcore Texans, they won't let their... I think that it's almost like the Boer here in South Africa, the Afrikaner. I see a lot of similarities between cowboys and the Boer. They're very proud. They like their guns. They like their tradition.
God.
They like
God.
Yeah, religious. And they will fight. They will fight for their land. They will fight for their rights, and they will fight to the death if need be for their country. And I think that might save Texas, hopefully. I just want to say here, Rainier Duplessis says, tell us a Texan joke, please. I don't know if this is a Texan joke, and it might come or be perceived as racist, but I'm going to say it anyway because I do have Hispanic heritage, so I can say it. What's the difference between a Mexican and a bench?
One's more flexible.
Nope. A bench can support a family.
Oh! Ouch! 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 All right, we're gonna get flamed for that one. That and the Simpsons imitation. But standing here beside myself, I'm standing here beside myself. We're gonna get flamed for that.
And then the South African is asking, "Have you got a tattoo yet?" I'm wondering which one. I have a tattoo. I had a tattoo already. I am issuing a challenge on my channel where if I get to 5,000 subscribers before the 16th of August, then I will get a tattoo that is decided by my viewers and my subscribers. So in other words, if I hit 5,000K before 16th of August, you guys will get to decide what tattoo I get. And throughout the following few weeks, I will have live streams with you guys, and we'll discuss ideas, and we'll narrow those ideas down as we get closer to the time. We'll do a poll, and you guys will decide which tattoo I get. Now, for the record, I do not like needles. I have proof of this. I have pictures of me getting my first tattoo where I look like a little wimp. And so this is a challenge for me. I don't want to necessarily get a tattoo. Tattoo is permanent, guys. Like, and I'm leaving it up to you guys to decide what design to get. Now, of course, I do say I get to decide what size and where on my body. But besides that, you guys are going to decide the design. So if you want to see me get a tattoo and you decide or help decide, subscribe to my channel and get me to 5K before the 16th of August. And then lastly, any future plans, live shows? Do you have any favorite comedians that inspire you? At the moment, live shows are always in the pipeline when lockdown is over. Hopefully, I'll get to do live shows again, and I will be in contact with my YouTube viewers and ask them, hey, do you want me to come to PE? Do you want me to come there? And I'll see if it's viable, and I'll do so happily. And comedians that inspire me, or favorite comedian. It's a really difficult question. There's so many that come to mind, but off the top of my head, Dave Chappelle, because he was the first comedian I ever listened to, Robin Williams, Barry Hilton, and the list will go on and on and on and on.
One of my favorite comedians, hands down, no question about it, is Hillary Clinton. Every piece of the thing comes out of her mouth is a joke. It's hilarious. So just thought I'd share that. Yeah. Hillary Clinton's one of my favorite comedians.
Oh, man. You know what? I should have become a little bit of I don't regard myself as a political comedian, but I have started to dwell or delve into that topic. And I got to tell you, man, in South Africa, they're just, every day the material writes itself, I got to admit.
No, you've definitely got fertile ground there for your profession. It's not like you have to work hard to get it. I mean, just do some of the clips of some of the things that members of the African National Congress government say, the conclusions. And we can do the same thing here in the States. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, representative from New York City, tells the country that the reason that the unemployment rate is so low is because people are forced to work 2 jobs simultaneously, which that's why it's low. Now, she has an economics degree from Yale, right? Undergraduate economics degree. This failed bartender who couldn't pay her credit card bills. The reason that the unemployment rate is low is because people work 2 jobs. No, the unemployment rate is not based on the number of jobs in the workforce. It's based on the number of people in the labor force, you moron. No. It's so if you have 100 million people in the labor force and 3 million are out of work, that's 3% unemployment. If you have 107 million jobs, you don't have 107%. It's just crazy. But so let me do this very quickly. So Nicholas sent a super chat. He says, "Hi, Colonel." In all caps, woke can kiss my sphincter. Mail me Joe's email. I want to back a buddy. So good. So can I share your email with Nicholas?
Of course.
Okay, I'll do that then.
Yeah.
Now I do want to point this out, Joe.
Was that in the live chat?
Yeah, it was in the chat. You missed it. You were saying something, and you put it was a super chat. So what I wanted to say for Nicholas is thank you so much for the super chat. But I think that what happened was you had a typo there. Remember, Herman was challenging people to, provide 5,000. Joe got 5,000 donation for his trial, for his court case. In the super chat here, I think you made a mistake. You were trying to send me 5,000 rand, not 50 rand. So move that decimal point over, right? Just kidding, Nicholas. Thank you so much for 50 rand. Very generous of you.
No, don't say you're kidding. What are you doing?
No, I am kidding. I'm just trying to have a little fun there. But there was a couple other comments before we close out here, Joe. Morton Christie always has funny things to say. He says, Omar Ilyan, Omar is like that party gate crasher who arrives empty-handed and still complains about the food.
Exactly. That's actually a perfect analogy.
That is good. And then Willem Janse van Rensburg said, did you guys see the man on SABC News complaining about the alcohol ban? It says that people that when they drink, it sanitizes their insides and they won't get COVID-19. No, I didn't see that.
Oh, my word. That's funny. Speaking about that, or speaking about did you guys see? It was so awesome. Ronaldo was doing a live stream of the Q&A with the president last night, and someone called in and asked about farm murders.
Yes.
Brilliant. I mean, unfortunately, the president gave a shit answer, but the fact that someone finally brought that to the president, and he was on a live, like in a live situation, unable to run away. His answer was completely bullshit. But man, I love that guy.
It's it's the argument that I've been making for decades now, because I've been talking about this since the early 1990s, since before apartheid ended with farm murders, because I saw it in Rhodesia, how they murdered farmers on the border areas, went on and with the most brutal, vile things that happened to farmers back then. So it was happening in South Africa before 94 in the new dispensation. But so I've been talking about this for a long time. But one of the things I keep talking about is the problem here is part of it is that people in the media especially only talk about white South Africans being murdered as if no one else is. And so people who don't want to hear the narrative can turn it into, well, it's just a conspiracy theory. They're claiming this, that, and the other. It's just the whites, they're privileged, don't listen to that. But the reality is that this gruesome activity happens to all ethnic groups, especially coloreds and Indians in South Africa, as well as whites. And the media rarely covers it. We just had a 27-year-old Indian pregnant woman, 4 months pregnant, I believe she was, 27 years old, with a 4-year-old son, and she was her throat was slit in the farm. They broke in the farm and they murdered her by slicing her throat open, killing her and her fetus, her child. Indian, and there's almost no coverage of it. There was a little bit of coverage of it in South Africa, but it disappeared within a day. It went away. But the media intentionally, I think, downplays what happens to black South Africans, because if black South Africans were fully conscious of what's happening to black South Africans around the country, they might be appalled and maybe moves calling for getting the government to do something or to leave office. You had the young lady who was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, in Gauteng, and she was stabbed to death multiple times and then hung from a tree. The same day that we heard about the gentleman in KZN, the ethnic German who was who had a lodge there, and he was butchered with a panga. Anyway, but no, so the press doesn't focus on the horrificness of what happens to everyone in South Africa, and so they're allowed to paint it, particularly when you have a president that runs around and says that whites by nature are racist. And that's why we have domestic spousal abuse, because white people are racist. When you have that kind of racialization of the climate, and then people focus on rural brutality, but they only tell part of the story, I'm talking about the media, then you get people to get away with this. Oh, I don't care about them. They're not like me. They're white. They're not Indian. They're not colored. They're not black. So, but the reality is it happens to all South Africans, and it's really, really tragic and sad. It is disgusting.
Well, he's getting worse. Like
he's absolutely worse. This is vile.
Our people, black people.
No, he said that in January, February, and I pointed out. He said our people. And he said 50 million, our people. I'm like, wait a second. So if it's 50 million, that takes out 4.8 million whites. I suppose maybe you counted some of the 6-7 million coloreds. Maybe you didn't count them all. What about the 1 million Indians? Our people, 50 million people. Either your statistics are badly wrong or you're spewing racist bile. And I think it's the latter.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. Anyway.
Unfortunately, he's not the savior we thought he was.
Well, I was never hoodwinked. I always warned people.
I was.
A lot of people were, Joe, and I appreciate your honesty in fessing up and saying that you were, and I get it. The Ramaphoria was the Ramaphoria was legitimate. People actually believed it, and I'm like, wait a second.
People still do.
Yeah. But some people always believe nonsense. Yeah. And I said, wait a second. This guy's not the great businessman that you all make him out to be. I mean, in a time that Jeff Bezos took a few $1,000s and turned it into $1 trillion capitalization for Amazon and became worth like $300 million out of his own pocket, in the time that happened, Cyril Ramaphosa was handed over $400 million in equity stakes, and he turned it into $450 million after 26 years. Now, you could just put that money in the bank and earn that much interest. So he's actually lost money in real value over the time. He's accomplished nothing in business. Nothing. Remember, he sat on the board of was it Implats or whatever, the platinum company up there in Northwest that called out the police when the Marikana miners were striking. And then the poorly trained saps fired on people who were menacing them, by the way. By the way, the cops weren't wrong to shoot. Now, no one wants to talk about that. They want to bury the whole situation, but the cops were right. What those people did was menace them. They threatened them, and they advanced toward the police, and they were warned repeatedly, and they didn't. So shots were fired to disperse them, and then they dispersed. And then they blamed the military, or the police. and the police commander was the one that took the fall for it. But the reality is that the police were poorly trained. They did respond inappropriately, and there were better ways to handle that from a tactical perspective. That's all legitimate. But the people that were striking illegally. They didn't have a permit to strike. You have to have a permit to strike in South Africa. They were menacing. They were carrying pangas. They were singing songs, to taunt and chant. They were toying, and they met their fate because of their actions. Much like these clowns on the streets of the United States now, running around attacking people in the street, breaking the homes, burning, looting. When they get struck back against, which should have happened weeks ago, and they cry, there'll be very little sympathy for them because they're thugs.
Yeah. I am going to need to head out because in 15 minutes, I'm going to experience load shedding. Yay! So excited. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to say goodnight. But I do want to say, Chris, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for allowing me to tell my story. And thank you to everyone who, I am going to miss Ronaldo House's stream. Please, for those of you that go on his stream, just say for him to talk about my situation. He knows, he's seen the video. Just tell his viewers to talk about it, or not tell his viewers, but just tell him to talk about it so that more people know about it. I'm going to be without electricity now for 2 hours. Hopefully. So I'm hearing stories that's lasting for 8 hours. The flip is going on. But again,
don't worry, Joe. The Germans are coming to rescue Eskom. It's all going to be fine. With the 3,000 South African white engineers working in France and elsewhere around the world from the power industry, we need a few dozen Germans to come down and make it all right.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So thanks again, Chris. It really means a lot to me that you allowed me to come and tell my story. And to everyone, to Herman Roos, to everyone who shares the video, who donates. I understand it's tough times for a lot of people, so just share the video, let my story get out there at the very least. And whether you donate or you share, I thank you so much, because this is how we're going to fight cancel culture. So once again, thank you so much, Chris, and thank you to everyone who's been so supportive. And you guys, I don't think I could thank any of you enough.
Cool beans. All right, Joe, thanks a lot. Why don't you drop off? I'll chat with you in a bit, and then I'll stay in here and close the show out. Thank you very much, folks. Hey, can we get some applause, a little thumbs up for my special feature guest, Joe Emilio? Fantastic guest today, folks. In the chat, give us a few thumbs up and a wave to him. All right, Joe, thanks a lot. Go ahead and drop off, and I'll continue here.
Cool. Cheers, man. Thanks again.
All right. Okay, folks, and Joe actually knows what he's doing. He's not a rookie there. He knows how to leave the meeting. So Joe's left the meeting. Thank you guys for tuning in today to my special feature on Thursday, July 16th, 2020, with my special guest and dare I say my friend, Joe Emilio, who's a South African-American based in South Africa doing – my sound just went away. Where did my sound go? What is going on here? I don't see my sound. Okay. Why is my sound not there? I don't hear anything. All right. Oh, you can hear fine. Okay, thank you, Yanni. I'm not getting any feedback on my side. It's really weird. There it is. Okay. All right, great. So thank you so much, Joe, for coming on. By the way, Herman Roos, God bless you. Thank you so much for that generous, super, super generous donation to help Joe in his legal fight against people trying to cancel him, this cancel culture. Thank you so much. Very generous. For those who don't know, who tuned in late, and by the way, look at all these thumbs up and applause and everything for everybody. Thank you guys so much. For those who tuned in late, Joe Emilio is trying to raise money now to pay for legal costs so he can pursue this case against the person who's damaged his reputation and cost him employment. And so he's got a way to do that. There were some links in the stream earlier. I'll make sure I post them in the video later on so you can find them if you watch this after the fact. But Joe is trying to fight cancel culture. And Herman Roos, the tobacco farm in South Africa, generously gave 5,000 Rand to help Joe out. Wow. That'll go a long way towards helping Joe. There, Joe has just put the link in again. So follow that link, folks, to help out Joe. Thank you so much for that. And to Nicholas Groves, who gave a super chat during the stream, 50 Rand super chat. Thank you so much, Nicholas. Really do appreciate you supporting this channel as well. And also, we had a lot of people subscribe during the stream. I think people tuned in. And Joe, thanks a lot. I guess people like listening to you or me or both of us, or maybe they were just bored. I'm not sure. But another, I think, 20-some people subscribed to the channel during the stream. So thank you guys so much for becoming subscribers. By the way, for folks who don't know and don't follow, let me just get this, and I'm up against the clock here because I know a lot of you got load shedding coming up in South Africa here very shortly. But let me find, I'm trying to find the member goal. I've got it here somewhere. Yeah, the member goal. Let me get that back up. That's actually not the correct figure if it comes up. It's more than 66. It's actually 71 members of Chris Wide Africa. Tomorrow, I'll do the inaugural Members Perks live stream. This is for members only. The chat in, it'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. That's 7 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana. And this will be a stream with a Zoom session. So if you're a member, you'll be able to call in and you can say what's on your mind, share your thoughts, or just rant if you like. This will be the inaugural one. Tomorrow will be 1 month since I started accepting memberships on the channel. We have 71 members, paid membership for the channel. So tomorrow will be the first time we do that. Also, I say once again, for people at the third level, the Master and Commander level, I do a special research video on a topic of interest to you. So share with me what your topic is, and then we'll make that video sometime soon. Anyway, Benjamin DeClerc says it's both of you. Well, thank you so much, Benjamin. Really appreciate that. I'm sure Joe appreciates it. Herman, that's right. You're a moderator on here, aren't you? Or I think he's a moderator on here. Herman, if you are, please put a link to your channel as well so people can check out Farmer's Travels, which is kind of interesting site itself. Check it out. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. It's been a real distinct pleasure once again to come to you guys with a special feature today. This one went much longer than I expected. Joe and I talked, and I thought he was going to drop off at about an hour, but we've gone for an hour and 45 minutes before Joe dropped off the stream. So everybody, thank you so much for the contributions in the chat, for your engagement, your discourse, for being subscribers to the channel. Now, I'm not getting a tattoo to get to 5,000. I don't do tattoos. Nothing against people have them, but that's not my thing. Your body's your temple, and I'm not damaging my temple. Anyway, so I'm not doing a tattoo, but I am approaching 5,000 subscribers on the channel. Thank you all so much for that. I think we're close to 4,600 at the moment. So, wow, thank you. Baya donkey. Que à la bois. Merci mille fois. C'est très bien, c'est très gentil de tout le monde pour soutien pour le site de l'Internet. Je suis très agréable. Anyway, thank you all so much for that. Really appreciate it. And I will be back on with Stray Voltage. Shave the beard. 5K to shave the beard. I might consider that, bro. 5K to shave the beard. I might consider that because the beard can come back. But this is about 7 months of growth now. So anyway, but it's been trimmed periodically. So yeah, I might shave it for 5K. Oh, 5K in money or 5K in subscribers? I'm not doing it for subscribers because a lot of people like the beard, but for 5K in Super Chat, maybe I'll do that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll be back on at 9:35 tonight to discuss the news, talk about what's been going on, and update folks on where we're at. And remember, tomorrow, a Members Perks stream at 1 p.m. tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm supposed to have a special feature with Marabani, but I've not heard back from Marabani. If he doesn't get back with me, I haven't scheduled that stream, so I just won't do it. But if he comes back to me, there'll be a special stream tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. in South Africa and Botswana, followed right afterwards by a Members Perks stream for those who are members of the channel. If you'd like to be involved in that, get a chance to come in to the conversation, then please consider becoming a member. The entry level is for recruit and team member, and that's just 10 Rand a month if you want to do that. So check it out if you want to do it. We do not accept Zim dollars, Matthew. Sorry. And we never have. Anyway, folks, thank you so much. Really appreciate the support. I do hope that you enjoy the channel, that you're getting some value out of it. I think a lot of people are, and that's why it's encouraging me to continue and expand the channel somewhat. Playing around with different things. You got to be careful about copywriting and taking other people's material without their permission, using it. So one thing you have noticed on my channel is that I always open my Stray Voltage streams with music from Giselle, a fantastic Namibian singer who lives in South Africa, whose music I'm helping promote. I have the license for that, but unfortunately the third party that checks copyright is always beating me up and telling me that I can't, and they demonetize my videos. So until that's sorted out, I've stopped putting her music on, but I will promote Giselle's music again in the future, including more of her videos as time goes on. Anyway, so thank you so much for that. What's the link for the members perk stream? Croy, you should have gotten a message, Croy, on the go to the community. If you're a member, go to the community tab, and members only will be able to see this. If you didn't get a notification, my apologies for that, but that's something that YouTube has done. So if you're a member, yeah, that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that, Croy, because I didn't even think about that. You might not have gotten the message, but I posted an update on the community tab. And if you're a member of the channel, then you'll be able to find that. Okay, so there you go. So it was a day ago. It's listed, and this is what I wrote on there. Hey, Chris White Africa subscribers and members, this Friday, 17 July, I will hold the inaugural Members Perks live stream. Get a cup of coffee or your preferred beverage, get comfy, sit back, and join in on the members live stream. I'll open a Zoom session. You can call in, provided you have Zoom installed on your PC, Mac, tablet, or mobile. Share your thoughts, concerns, or just have a bit of, what did I say here? I got to read more. A bit of a rant. Anyway, so that is on the community tab on Chris White Africa channel. So if you go to the community tab, check it out, and then you'll be able to see that link for the member stream. Now, if I'm correct, and Yanni can correct me if I'm wrong here, what will happen is that stream, if you're a member, you'll be able to get into it and chat in there. But if you're not a member, you won't be able to chat. And I think I haven't done one before, so I'm going to try it and see what happens. But anyway, that's it. That's the purpose. So, Croy, thanks for pointing that out, because I know some people don't get the messages, and that's a shame, especially for members when you're paying for membership and then YouTube lets us down. That's frustrating. Anyway, but go ahead and check. The community tab. It's there. Yeah, Yanni says that's how he's got it. Okay, folks. So that's what's going on tomorrow. Again, later today, Stray Voltage, late night for the Night Owls in Africa. I'll be on later tonight, and we'll cover some news and events. And then tomorrow, Marabani possibly at noon East Coast, 6 p.m. South Africa. And then for sure tomorrow at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard or 7 p.m. South African time, the Members Perk stream. So anyway, looking forward to that, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Coming up on 2 hours for this stream, so I'm going to go ahead and drop off right here, and I'm going to prepare a video. I already made some notes, my research here on a video about Germany to the rescue. So the title of this video will probably be something like Arresting Failure at ESCOM, Germany to the Rescue, with a question mark. And this is about the news that German engineers and technicians have come to South Africa to save ESCOM. Yay! Unfortunately, it's not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, so I'll talk about that. All right, the Bruce says Marabani would be great. Yeah, he would be, but he's got to get back with me. I checked my LinkedIn account earlier. He had not responded. Anyway, Erica will sit on the sidelines, too strung up, don't want to vent publicly. That's fine, Erica. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you. God bless you for tuning in. Thanks for the super chat from Nicholas Groves. Thank you for all the folks who became subscribers during this video. It very is much appreciated by me. Notice how I use the passive voice. In other words, saying I appreciate it very much. That's the active voice. There you go. There's your grammar lesson for today, ladies and gentlemen. Passive voice versus active voice. The active voice is much more honest. Anyway, so there you go. I'll catch you guys in a little bit. God bless, and have a good afternoon and evening, depending where you are. And I'll see you guys in